Mayor Pete is a standard politician. He has his talking points. He has his little politician cadence and way of talking. And what I'm going to do here is dissect a non-answer from Mayor Pete, because he often doesn't answer a question. He'll give you the illusion that he's answering it, but in reality, he's BSing and tap dancing all around it. So let me show you, then we'll discuss.
In President Trump's first 2 years in office, the Pentagon budget ballooned. Mayor Buttigieg, would you cut military spending or would you keep it on the same upward trajectory?
We need to reprioritize our budget as a whole and our military spending in particular. It's not just how much, although we certainly need to look at the runaway growth in military spending. It's also where. Right now, we are spending a fraction of the intention and resources on things like the artificial intelligence research that China is doing right now. If we fall behind on artificial intelligence, the most expensive ships that the United States is building just turn into bigger targets. We do not have a 21st century security strategy coming from this president. After all, he's relying on 17th century security technologies like a moat full of alligators or a big wall. There is no concept of strategic planning for how civilian, diplomatic, and military security work needs to take place for the future.
Flat out didn't answer the question. He's basically asked, would you cut the military spending? And he doesn't say yes, and he doesn't say no. He goes right into his little politician tap dance. We need to reprioritize our budget as a whole, and in particular, our military spending. And what we're doing is, we need to update the situation so that, we're spending a fraction on AI research, which is what we need to do, because if we fall behind on the AI research, then our military just becomes a bigger target, and what we need is 21st century security strategy, and this president's relying on 17th century stuff. You ready? Here's my pre-planned politician line. He relies on, alligators and a moat and a big wall, and, go back and listen again, man. Go back and listen again. Here's how you answer that question. Would you cut military spending? The military spending has exploded under Trump. Would you cut military spending? Yes. Yes, I would. That's how you answer it. Yes, I would. We spend 10 times more. We spend more than the next 10 countries combined, at least. I think the number might even be more than that. And we have 900 military bases around the world. And yes, it's time to, at the very least, massively reduce that footprint. I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious, especially at a time when our infrastructure gets a grade of D+. Our roads and bridges are collapsing, our airports are terrible, and, we'd rather rebuild Kandahar than rebuild Flint, Michigan. So it's inexcusable. And he does not answer the question. Would you cut military spending? Well, we need to reprioritize our budget as a whole, but also our military spending, and AI is the way we move in the future. This is why I despise Mayor Pete. Now, just understand that there's a reason why he answers it like this. Because he's not going to change it. He's not going to change it. You think he's a real agent of change? He's a status quo protector. That's what he is. That's why it almost doesn't matter what the question is. You can rewatch this debate. Play a little game. Every time he's asked a question, see if he directly answers it or not. The overwhelming majority of the time, the answer is no. Like, he gave this whole spiel. He was asked about farm subsidies at one point. He gave this whole spiel. He talked for 3 minutes straight, and with his fake voice and his overcoached way of talking. And then at the end, thankfully, it was the only time I've ever heard a follow-up question asked of Mayor Pete. I think it was Maddow, and she was like, with all due respect, you didn't answer the question, would you keep the subsidies in place? And he was like, yes, I would. But we won't have to, but yeah, I would. So you let him BS for 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, and the one time he's called on his nonsense where he never answers a question, he gives the answer, he's like, okay, yeah, I agree with Trump, actually. So just know this, like, if they followed up there, no. I asked you a very specific question. Would you cut our bloated military spending? Go. What would he have said? The thing is, guys, he's just a status quo protector, and he doesn't believe in anything. So when you don't believe in anything, you default to what is already. Because you get less crap if you just kind of default to what already is. Because you could kind of pawn off responsibility and be like, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. It was the previous administration. Oh my God, all this military spending, so wild. I didn't do it, but it's there. It is what it is. So what am I going to do? I'm going to deal with the situation as it is. You need somebody with an actual ideology who believes in something and who will make changes and is unafraid to make changes to do the right thing. So that's why Bernie's like, yes, I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to end the war on terror. I'm going to pull out of Afghanistan. I'm going to pull out of Iraq. Absolutely. That's what I'm going to do. Mayor Pete, we need to reprioritize our budget as a whole and our military spending. But it's a fraction of what the AI research needs to be more, because if we don't catch up, if we fall behind on that, then we're going to be in trouble, because then we're just a bigger target. And I'm for 21st century solutions, and this president's for 17th century solutions. Moats and alligators, bro. Pre-planned lines, bro. Go back to 1992 where you belong, because that's where your philosophy is, and that's where your politician persona comes from.